Welcome to the Strain Podcast, a Southgate Media Group production, where we talk all about Guillermo del Toro's horror fantasy series, The Strain. We are currently covering the series' third season on FX. I'm your host, Blaire Knight-Graves, the executive producer and host of Professional Geek Podcast, and with me today is Kyle Tremblay, the editor-in-chief at TVBinges.com. You can find us on Twitter at Blaire Loves TV and at Kyle Loves TV. And remember, both Kyle and Blaire have an E at the end. You can also follow this podcast's Twitter handle at The Strain Pod. Plus, don't forget to play hashtag The Strain Bingo with us every week for a chance to be on our show. Hey, Kyle, how you doing today?
Blaire. Blaire.
Yes.
Why are we recording a podcast? This is a national day of mourning for my body, which has been crammed between the cushions of the couch that I was trying to hide in during a certain scene in this episode. And I'm now living the couch. I'm talking to you from inside my couch, and I can't get out.
That upset about what happened, huh?
Yeah, upset is not. I've been upset about a lot of things on this train. I'm now incorporeal. I am no longer a human with identifiable limbs. I am I have merged with my couch, and that's just who I am now.
Wow. That was quite the homage to the things you and I are about to discuss.
No, one specific thing. I have very different thoughts about this episode as a whole, and then one scene in this episode.
Okay, well, let's get to it. Today, you and I are going to be discussing Season 3, Episode 8, which was titled White Light.
Why? Sorry,
and was written by Regina Corrado and Liz Fang. Both are writers who I would consider really hating Dutch. They have always hated Dutch. They've always written her poorly. They've always done really wrong by her. So when I saw that they were the writers on tonight's episode, I was not surprised.
Hating Dutch and hating the audience. Just hating hateful writers on this episode. How could you do this to us? Regina and who was the other one?
Liz Fang.
Liz Fang. How could you do this? What have you done? What have you done?
I think the entire Twitter audience agrees with you. So I don't think I saw a single person on Twitter who was like, this is a good idea.
It can't. Listen, we live in an age where truth is becoming distressingly relative, where you can just say things and then people will take them to be true. If someone told me that they enjoyed the Dutch romance in this episode, I would punch them in the face. Because that is untrue. That I am sure of that being untrue than I am of any truth in this world. There has never been anything I have been as sure about as that scene being the worst thing to ever air on American television.
Well, I would like to, I'm not against you, but I would love to hear why you feel that way.
Okay. For a scene to be this bad, there has to be multiple layers. By the way, we got to get this out of the way. We're going to talk about this for like 5 minutes, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the episode, which was very different than that one scene.
Yes.
So this is not going to be, I think, a particularly down episode.
No,
but
yes. Get through this part with us. We have to talk about it first.
Yes, I have to explain why I've merged with the couch. Okay, so we talked this whole season about how terrible an idea this is. That, every episode of the podcast that's featured those two characters, we have been dreading what seemed like, based on our knowledge of the show, an eventuality that Dutch and F would get together. We hoped it wouldn't happen. I think as recent as 2 weeks ago, we said if only they could find a way for these characters not to get together. If only. If only there was some way that they could avoid it. As if by magic they had control over the plot of the show. But alas, they have gotten together, and it wasn't just that. That was to me, them getting together was as bad as Coco and Palmer. Like, it is not as, like, gross on the surface as a 25-year-old dating an 80-year-old, but just knowing what we know about the characters, knowing what happens to F's love interests, knowing that Dutch is a character that kind of exists just to be hot, which this episode really emphasized, it is just gross and bad and needless TV plotting. But then, as if that wasn't enough, as if it wasn't enough to match last season's biggest catastrophe, the scene where it happened involved Dutch not only initiating the flirtation and F playing coy as if he hasn't been thinking about this since the moment they met. Her giving a monologue that involved nurses and parts of anatomy that was just the most upsetting thing I have ever heard. It was so profoundly upsetting, her delivering that monologue to F and then hooking up with him. It was unconscionable.
It was offensive.
It was It was offensive on every level.
Yeah.
You could pick a level and it was offensive on that level.
Yeah. There is a big problem with bisexual characters in general, not being treated as people, being treated kind of as like the terrible joke that I hate, which is like bisexuals could stick their hands down anybody's pants and they'd be happy. And that's how they treat Dutch, which is not how a person acts. I mean, I suppose there probably are bisexuals. I'm not going to like... There aren't bisexuals who don't behave in that way.
Do your own thing.
Right, but it was patently offensive to anybody on the queer spectrum, the way that she was flaunting her sexuality specifically to rile him up, in a way that bisexuals particularly have been fighting to not be portrayed as for an incredibly long period of time, to not just be the woman who's going to make out with another woman in order to, to rile up a guy. And this scene was just the verbal version of that. And I found it, as somebody, I'm fine with saying this, as somebody who is designated on the queer spectrum, I found it patently offensive. It was, I wanted to turn the television off. I was so mad.
Yeah, no, I getting through the last 5 minutes of this episode, which were excellent, after this scene, was so hard for me. Again, I liked the what happened after this because it didn't involve anything about this, but it was just like it was hard for me to function. It was hard for me to like look this show in the eye and say like, you did this. I can't believe it. I can't believe they would do this. Like, what? How? How does that get on television? How does that? I mean, yeah, everything you said is accurate, 100% true. It's like it's really an offensive portrayal, especially given how the character's been so sexualized from the moment she's been on screen and has never ever been given the opportunity to transcend that in a meaningful way, like a lasting way. And when she starts talking, she starts like doing erotic fiction about nurses verbally to him, as if she needs to be the one to convince him to sleep with her.
Right.
It's like what world are we living in?
Yeah.
And it's I can't believe it. I can't believe this happened. How can you do that? How can people make decisions that lead to shows like that, like lead to scenes like that happening? How can that happen? I am flummoxed.
It's the same people who wrote the episode where she almost got raped by Eichhorst. Like, that's true. It's the exact same writers, which I find, and they're the two female writers on the show, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not. I
don't get it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we feel the same way, and I think most of the audience feels the same way. So I want to move on with one last note, though, which was that I saw a lot of people tweeting about how much of a slut Dutch is because of this scene. And I would like to remind our audience that F and Dutch have slept with the same amount of people on this show, and that F did make the first move, and that just consider your stereotypes you're thinking about men and women when you're thinking about that, because they have both acted the exact same way on the show.
Like, objectively, F is a slut. like objectively. Dutch never cheated on his wife with his assistant, or his second in command. Like, or her wife. You know, like, there was no... F is the most, like, the reason this was gross is that she slept with him. Because it's like he is just this, like, yeah, he's the dude, like, he's the gross party in this.
Yeah.
And it's just gross that she had to, again, erotic fan fiction, and it wasn't like him sweet talking her, which would have been as upsetting in like a surface level way, but it would have also not been gross in a lot of the ways that you brought up, like more serious ways. If he had been the one doing the sort of sweet talking, you know, if he had been the one sort of pursuing her, that's bad, and we would have made fun of that. But it, like, just a real twist of the knife for it to be her who was pursuing him, as if he's this great desirable man. Oh.
Yeah, no. I love what you said, that, you know, she has never been given the opportunity to transcend her sexuality, and this would have been a good opportunity for her to just work platonically with somebody else with whom she has kinship, because they're both alcoholics and they're both crazy smart in different ways. But instead, it needed to come down to this really, really gross.
And they have stuff to do. They finally have stuff to do. Granted, it's kind of stupid stuff, but they have stuff to do with this whole master communication thing. Like, yeah, maybe it doesn't need to devolve into this with 12 episodes of the show left forever. You know, maybe we didn't need to do that. Maybe we could just have them be, like, plot oriented and have her be a character who is valuable for her own purposes. Like, do we need to, at this point, 12 episodes left, we need to introduce romances? That's what we're doing now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm climbing out from the couch because there was so much to this episode. And we've gotten through what I could safely say was the worst part.
Yeah, so thank you to everybody who lasted that last 10 minutes with us, but we are now going to talk about not that stuff. But we should just start from the beginning with the meat hooks.
The meat hooks. Way to take 8 episodes to bring this back. Which was the most lasting part of last season's finale, was that shot of this packing plant, and it has been completely ignored until this point of the season. The third to last episode of the season. But now we brought it back, and that's like a really intriguing plot point, and I loved the opening scene.
Oh my god, any time that Icarus can, like, just be disgusting.
Yeah, Icarus is, and I tweeted this, Icarus is like 95% of the way to being Dr. Evil. Like, the elaborate contraption he's had rigged up here that ends in like an incineration room. If there was a pit of sharks, we would be full on Dr. Evil. Like, he was really enjoying his very elaborate way of killing people.
Yes, including the flailing guy with his glasses. That was
the poor nerdo.
I know.
He existed only to be hooked by Icarus.
I know. When the scene opened with it, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I was like, I know one thing in life, and that's the F Dutch romance is going to be terrible. But the second thing I know is this dude's gonna die. This guy's shirt is like 3 sizes too big for him. He's pushing up his glasses on his nose. He is dead.
He is not lasting.
He is not gonna last.
No, that's interesting though, that the last thing we saw last season was this, and they took... Yeah. I mean, but that's not the only thing. Gus's mom thing was the first episode of this season, and they took 8 episodes to come back, or whatever, 7 episodes to come back to it. Like,
yeah, look, I already got my negative part out. Suffice to say that if the F Dutch thing hadn't have happened in this episode, those first 10 minutes would have been devoted to Gus and his freaking mom. So I mean, the less said about that, the better. I feel like that is just.
Hey,
I don't. Yeah.
They psyched us out. They made us think Angel was gonna die.
Yeah, true. Yeah. They really gave him like a. I mean, I thought he was going to die at the center. I think he still is at the center because that we know that the thing that he registered for is actually for the processing plant.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole Palmer thing to get his information for that. So I think he kind of signed his own death warrant in this episode. But yeah, I thought he was going to die. I especially thought he was going to die when he walked into an abandoned apartment, took one look around, and then laid and fell asleep on the couch without locking the door.
And took those pills, which my theory was that there's like a tracking device in those pills, but a lot of people tweeted at me that it was ground up worms.
Oh.
But that doesn't make sense to me if they're like trying to get them onto the meat hooks. Why would they give them worms? I'm not sure.
I like your theory better. I don't know what it is, but the goal isn't to convert everyone.
No.
It's to conquer with what you have and then drain everyone for their blood, and you don't have your blood if you're a Strigoi.
And then you keep a blood supply going, and you have a reserve.
Right.
And
you have to, you treat human like cattle.
Yeah.
You have to have a controlled population that you breed and you kill for their blood. It's like that's their plan. They have to have a sustainable food source.
Exactly.
So, I mean, turning people into Strigoi would be an invasion tactic as opposed to a sustainability tactic. I took this as a sustainability thing. But,
exactly.
Who knows?
To those of you who said that this was remarkably similar to Blade Trinity, I'll have you know that Guillermo del Toro did Blade Trinity.
Nope. So that's a nice observation.
Yeah, that the same creative team is doing the same thing again a couple decades later.
Yep.
No, but this is something that I think is very interesting. This is, I don't believe, something that happens in the books at all. And it's a nice little twist to have in the TV show. It's a nice use of Icarus with his Nazi knowledge. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, just on the Nazi, you brought up the Nazi thing. Just very quick note about our last episode where we disagreed on that. Like, to me, like, if the show wanted to, like, how easy would it have been for that flashback to involve an incineration chamber?
Yeah, that would have been...
Because they were just shooting everyone in the head, right? But Nazis famously... had these incineration chambers. Considering it happened in the cold open of this episode, the incineration chamber was mentioned. Wouldn't that have been like a nice little like episode to episode bridge to have the flashback involve an incineration chamber and then the opening of the next episode involve one?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been like an easy way to make your show feel like it matters more?
Well, no, I mean, I think I was thinking about it a lot more. One of the things I liked about the last episode was that was something that they talk about a lot, was that the healthy foot soldiers of the enemy lines were brought over and told they're the ones who were responsible for shooting and putting people in the ditch. And then those people in the ditch did get incinerated. So it's amazing to me that they show the ditch, they show people go into the ditch, and then they talk about an incinerator, and they don't burn the bodies because that was a thing that actually happened. What? Why? That would have been... Well, no, that would have been a whole other day of production probably for the production team.
It just give us one scene. Yeah. Just one 3-second scene, and then it would have tied in so nicely to this whole episode and story. But no, okay, fine, whatever.
But it does, still help jog the Nazi memories.
Yeah, still there.
So I know you're bummed about the Gus stuff. I mean, do you want to talk about his childhood? Do you want to just move past that part?
No, I don't need. Here's what I don't need with 12 episodes left of the show: flashbacks explaining the stuff that we learned like in the first 2 episodes. Gus is a gangster with a heart of gold who loves his mother. I think it's something I literally said in our first ever episode about the pilot of this show. It's like, what did we learn besides that? Like, this character is who he is at this point, and I guess what we learned is exactly how he came to work for Icarus, but also we could have puzzled that out. It was the most boring reveal possible. Like, a bartender or whatever gave him Icarus' business card, Great. You know what? That was probably if I had thought about it, that's what I would have thought happened. It's like I don't. This is the second episode in a row now that we're getting these character flashbacks designed to illuminate character traits that were established 2 seasons ago. I don't know why the impetus is for now to be establishing these traits, where those flashbacks should have occurred in season 1, and they aren't giving us any particularly insightful information that is useful to us now that we've known the characters for this long. If that was their way of justifying the entire Gus's mom arc this season, I don't approve. I don't approve of that use of your biggest resource, which is screen time.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and the only thing that I can really think of that they're doing is trying to, like, reestablish our love for them, like, trying to, like give us the opportunity to, like, remember why you like them, because the only other option would be that they are setting us up to lose a bunch of folks, which I wouldn't be cool with losing a bunch of characters. I could maybe lose some or one. But other than that, I just think it's like, hey guys, we got such a short period of time left. Remember why you like them? Because they're going to hopefully be heroes soon or something, like, I'm like, they're redeeming themselves. Like, I don't know what the point is.
No, I think that's probably accurate in some respect. Like that is emblematic of their thinking. It's just like, if you want to make me like a character, the worst way to do that is to have him behave irrationally, like Gus. And it's like, you can give me all the backstory you want and try to justify it. Having seen what he's seen, it's irrational for him to have waited this long to kill his mother. Like, to have been feeding her all this time, and to, like, come home and just be, like, looking under the bed to see if she's there. Like, that's the behavior of a crazy person. And then when like he got taken away to go on the tunnel team, and do all that stuff, like, he seemed completely unaffected by that. Like, it never registers emotionally outside of when it's, like, emotional time. Right,
like, he didn't go, I need to get back to my mom, exactly. While he was, yeah.
He's complete, and that happened before his mom was brought up this season. Like, he had been in a couple episodes, like, there's, last season, like, in the time between when his mom was turned and his first appearance of this season, when he was feeding her, he was on screen plenty of times. He had the entire restaurant arc, and I don't remember him bringing her up more than once or twice. It's like he seemed unaffected by it, and I'm sure some of that can be attributed to the sort of gangster exterior, but it doesn't seem like I bought into his mom being an important part of his life from, like, the moment he was introduced. That was his, like, only defining trait. So I don't need that to be reestablished with flashbacks. You're not giving me any new information. I've already accepted that. What I don't accept is that he's just so blinded by this that he can't see the practical reality of being a Strigoi fighter, of just recognizing, what's happened to her.
Yeah.
It just seems ridiculous to the character.
No, it is. And it's almost as if they don't know what to write, so they're just writing the same thing again.
Yeah, well, that might be the real story here, is that they just don't know how to integrate Gus into the show, the same way they don't know how to integrate Dutch into the show. They don't know how to make these characters have meaningful stories, and so they sort of cook up stories for them that are just very dumb and bad.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't have any reason or ability to be useful the way that they have developed the show, the way that they've steered so far from the source material, that they just have nothing for anybody to do.
I mean, the easiest thing in the world would have to have Gus and his prison gang just be on the streets fighting Strigoi. Like, right. There would have been nothing easier and nothing more satisfying than him, out of love for his mother and recognition that she was gone and having to put her down, just going on a Strigoi killing rampage. Would have been good.
Oh,
would have been a good story for Gus.
Like in the books.
yeah. If only there was a source material that could have been referenced to provide some starting points for such a story. If only that kind of story had been, say, written by perhaps people who are involved in the show.
If only there had been characters that were developed already to be his street gang, so you didn't even have to come up with where those people would come from.
I mean, yeah, if only, like, this entire story would have been executed correctly in another form, and all the show had to do was transpose that to the television screen. I guess it's just a missed opportunity, you know? Sometimes the universe just stacks the cards against you, and you gotta... Stupid show.
Oh, that was a fun bit. Okay, so we have to talk about what happened at the end. Because I think that we've pretty much talked about everything else that happened.
Well, we talked about all the bad stuff.
Well,
this episode was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fett and Abe found the murder hall. The butchery. That was pretty cool. Icarus had the best smile ever as they drove away.
Again, Dr. Evil.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. It was good, you know, it was good.
It was a very typical Strain episode in that there was some good story stuff, and honestly, like F and Dutch, until that fateful scene, was pretty good. It was like, I really liked the scene where they were listening to the recording and everything freaked out. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was like a neat scene. I asked, maybe this was obvious based on the response I got on Twitter. I didn't understand why F wasn't freaking out, and everyone told me it was because the alcohol in his system. Was that obvious?
No.
No,
that's not why.
Three separate people told me.
No, she explained it.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, because he's older and you hear at a different frequency when you're... that was one of the reasons I thought the whole sex thing was so creepy. She went out of her way to mention how much older he is than her.
I thought she was teasing him.
Oh.
I thought she was making a little jokey joke about him. I didn't realize that was the actual explanation. Everyone on Twitter, I asked like, why? Why? And everyone on Twitter said he was drunk, and I just assumed I missed some plot point about alcohol. Well, I guess not.
Oh. No. I was gonna say, like, the characters that survived the flight, were they drunk? I don't think so.
No, I mean, those were chosen by the master.
Yeah, exactly. No. The only other thing is a lot of people who are saying, and this would make it even more upsetting, a lot of people on my timeline, or rather the Strain Pod's timeline, were saying that she was pregnant.
Well, now that would make sense with the vomiting.
Mm-hmm. And just generally, you're generally more sensitive to all of your senses during pregnancy. So
that's I'll buy that explanation. It would be a horrible nightmare to play out on this show.
Yeah,
just a horrible hellscape. But other than that, I mean, I'd buy it.
I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm now immune to the horrors of war. I can watch Saving Private Ryan and not even flinch now. I've been inside the couch, Blaire. I crawled between the cushions. I was like holding my keyboard and curled up in the fetal position with the couch between me and the screen watching this episode. Watching that scene.
You are trying to get into the Upside Down.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, the Demogorgon would have been an upgrade over what I've witnessed. Because I could still hear. Speaking of senses, I could hear it. I could hear it like the master's voice in my head. Except it was Dutch telling a story about nurses.
A horrible, horrible story about nurses.
A horrible story that needs to be forgotten. It should have been banned by the FCC.
I know.
This scene should not have been allowed to air. Thanks, Obama.
Oh, my favorite hashtag that we're not going to be able to use again soon.
No, it'll become sincere in like 2 months. It'll be a sincere hashtag.
Awesome. Okay, but we should talk about the end with Quinlan and the Ancients.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was good. That
was great.
That's some of the best stuff the Strain has ever done.
The show is trolling us because they put it. That was the only scene that happened after the F and Dutch scene. So it's like you have to. It's like you have to eat your broccoli before you get dessert. Except the broccoli was the worst scene to ever air on television.
The broccoli has E. coli.
The broccoli has E. coli. You have to eat the plague. And then you can watch a really cool vampire fight.
Yeah.
Which was really great and lots of fun, and we got to see Quinlan. Quinlan was awesome in this episode, quietly, just all around. As I tweeted in a faux email, dear the Strain, it's fun watching characters be cool. Sincerely, Kyle. how about we have more characters act cool?
Yeah.
Because when Fett does it, it's great. When Quinlan does it, it's great. How about just more cool stuff?
Right.
Just cool things.
Yeah. Fett ripping a tongue out of a Strigoi, and Quinlan, like, chopping 12 dudes in a row in one shot. Like, what is this?
Right. If Quinlan would have done that and then put on sunglasses and then, like, tilted them down and winked at the camera, it would have been my favorite moment. Like, look, let's just go all out here. Like, it's a show that does best when it's, like, giving us cool stuff. Whether it's, like, piles of Strigoi exploding or vampire fights or big battles, like, that's what the show is. It's a show that exists to show us cool stuff. So let's lean into that, because the cool stuff in this episode was really good. And was what made the episode worthwhile, aside from that one fateful scene. which is forever going to be seared into my mind. See, it'll haunt my dreams like Freddy Krueger.
It's gonna be one of those things that I, like, remember when I'm old.
Yes.
When I write a memoir about how much I love television, and Blaire loves TV,
Yes.
and I will write a memoir about how much I love television, and then I will write about one of the times that I was the most upset ever watching.
The time you hated television.
The time that I considered stopping with the television.
Yeah. No, this it could be. I mean, this will go down in the annals of television history as a watershed moment where innocence was lost. It is that the build-up when it became clear they were flirting in that scene, and I'm sorry I keep going back to it. I can't stop thinking about it.
I know, we were like, we're only going to talk about it for 5 minutes, and
I can't. It's taken over my mind. When they started flirting in that scene, that was legitimately, no joke, the scariest moment of the Strain. When the show started laying down the cues that this was going to be a romance scene, I was like, no. It's like this. I was more scared for what was to come than I was when Nora died, than I was during any of the, like, vampire chases, any of the stinger near misses. That was the scariest this series has ever been. is when that romance was about to go down. I'm like 20% joking. Like, I was so scared, and again, I'm joking about the couch. I was hiding behind my couch. I'm telling you that as a fact. Like,
oh, that was serious. You're not kidding me.
I mean, I didn't merge with the couch. I climbed. My couch is, like, right here, 2 feet to the right of me. I climbed, like, onto it. Like, I couldn't. I had to physically distance myself from the scene because it was so, like. It reminds me of, like, I'm gonna make a reference that's going to really shine badly on me, but, like, The Bachelor, when hear me out, when, like, there's two guys at the end and they're both going to propose, or The Bachelorette, I guess, but one of them's gonna get rejected, and you know the first one's gonna be rejected, you know, because there's gonna be two proposals. The second one is obviously going to be the one that's accepted, but the first guy, you still have to, like, watch 20 minutes of him getting ready, and of him, like, saying, this is gonna be the happiest day of my life, and then he drives there, and then he gets down on one knee, and he tells the Bachelorette all the things he loves about her, and then right as he's about to propose, she says, sorry, bud, you're going home. It's like, that was the feeling I had in that scene, except I was the one proposing to the Strain. And I knew the Strain was going to reject me by putting that scene on the air.
You were proposing, hey, how about we don't do this?
Yeah, I was proposing. And the Strain said, no, sir. I am marrying these two characters that you hate. You're gonna watch this, and you're gonna listen to my talk about nurses, and you're gonna suffer with me. That's what the Strain told me, and I was left to cry on my couch. That was all there was to do, just like in The Bachelorette. Just that was the only course of action.
Oh, this has been fun, Kyle.
It's a good episode.
Again, I know.
Good episode of the pod. Good episode of the show, by the way. Pretty good episode. Like, I enjoyed myself, other than the few moments where I tried to hide physically from the show.
Oh, I enjoyed that. So we are gonna go ahead. We had a strain bingo.
Hey.
I'm gonna try to reel this in. We had a strain bingo winner from last week that we weren't.
This week I tried to officially cancel bingo after that scene. We had a winner this week that we'll get to, but this is our winner last week that we talked to.
Yes.
But I just know that after that scene I attempted to cancel strain bingo.
But we had somebody who I'm very excited to bring on. We'll do a little mini episode probably, who has been playing with us for a very long time and was their first bingo. So, but this week we are getting our bingo winner from the episode Collaborators, which was season 3, episode 7, and her name is at Carpe Diem Court or
Yes.
Courtney.
Courtney, our longtime favorite. So I think we're gonna just throw it to that interview.
Yeah, enjoy. Right now, we have with us a strain bingo winner who we weren't able to get on the traditional episode, so we wanted to do an extra special little mini episode where we got a chance to talk to her. Welcome, Courtney, to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you on because we are tweeting with you like throughout the whole week when we're waiting for the strain, and we're always talking to you during the episodes. You're very interactive. For those who want to follow her, if it's okay, your handle is at Carpe Diem Court. And I think you're not private, right? You're public.
Nope,
Yep.
I'm public. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. So she is wonderful to tweet with for the strain, and we've got one more season left, so you get to tweet with her during that season.
Yay.
So Courtney, we've got. Yeah, absolutely. So are we. We've got just a few questions for you as our honorary guest this episode about the strain. Are you ready for our questions?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, wait. Before the questions, shouldn't we talk about which bingo she got?
Absolutely not. We're heading for... No, please, say the bingo.
So, for season 3, episode 7, called Collaborators, Courtney got the bingo. It's a diagonal from the top left down to the bottom right. Tears are shed, stinger near miss, Strigoi free zone, giant explosion, and a flashback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we ready for the questions now?
We are now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was good.
So.
I had all my momentum. I felt like I was Fett setting up dynamite, and then you told me don't set up dynamite anymore. Okay, question number 1. Who is your favorite character on the strain?
Oh, man. I think it had to be Fett or Abe. I just love Abe so much. I love Abraham and Fett and all his explosives. He's just funny. He has the taglines. He has heart. He's a good guy, and he's hilarious. I love Fett too.
Anyone who says "boom boom" every third sentence is bound to be a fan favorite, or who uses an apparently enormous explosion to blow up a safe in a building, as this episode. Yeah.
Do you like Abe in all of his forms, or just old man Abe?
I love both. I like young Abe a lot too. Like, he looks a lot like old Abe, and like his mannerisms are so similar. I like that he seems kind of cool in his younger years. I like both of them.
Hey.
It seems like you're trending more towards the action-oriented character. Maybe like the character is most likely to chop off a Strugoi's head. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Right, because there are, the characters on this show kind of have pretty well-specified roles. Like, when F tries to fire at a Strigoi, it takes him like 10 shots to hit it in the head.
Yeah.
So, and when Fett fights a Strigoi, he pulls its tongue out. Like, there's a different balance here between the characters. Yeah.
So,
definitely.
Courtney, do you have a favorite episode or moment on the strain thus far, up through season 3, episode 7?
Oh, there's so many. Let's see. I really like the Born episode with Quinlan. Quinlan is one of my favorite characters too. I love him. Let's see. I don't know. I can't say a favorite. I feel like every episode just gets better than the last, and I just love it all as a whole. Oh, I'm really trying to think of a favorite. You know what? I really love the first episode actually. Just the mystery with the plane, and you're trying to figure out everything. I really love the first episode and the first season really as a whole, because everything was so mysterious and you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know what was going on. I really loved all of that.
Yeah, you didn't even know if it was vampires right away. Like, you're like, what is this even about?
Yeah.
I know for me that plane scene still sticks in my mind as just a really, really interesting opening for the show, and very a very memorable moment. Or at the end of that episode when we first get our glimpse of the Master and he's smashing that guy's head into the ground. Like,
oh my God. When all you see is the cloak and that thing and the stinger just shoot out, you're like, what? My reaction was like, what the heck is that? I was so scared and freaked out, but I loved it. It was so good.
I want to ask a question based on your answer to the previous question, because I'm always interested in the various types of Strain fans. You know, Blaire and I on the podcast are sometimes critical of the show, although we always enjoy it. But we're, you know, we enjoy some episodes more than others, I think it's safe to say. Do you ever watch the show and you're like, okay, this is just like, this has gone bad? Or are you just like are you like strapped into the roller coaster, ready to take the show wherever it'll take you?
I love the show. I think I lean towards some of the fans with Zach. I feel like there was such a drastic change between not just even the character that plays him, just his personality. I felt like at the end of season 1, he was kind of like gearing up to be this kind of, you know, badass. And then second, from season 2 on, he's just been kind of whiny and wanting mommy all the time. And I'm just like, ugh, Zach. So like most season he's in, I'm just kind of rolling my eyes.
I often make Strain Walking Dead comparisons, and I'm not the biggest Walking Dead fan, but they need to do what The Walking Dead did and just make Zach into like a generic cool character. You know, just like not... He needs to stop being the whiny kid. It would be really nice if he stopped whining.
Yeah, completely agree, 100%. I was like, Zach, and your mom is a monster. When are you going to get over it? Like,
yeah, I'm
crying for her.
They traded this kid who seemed to be like really like becoming his own to become, as you were saying, like this really whiny older kid. Like that was another part that was very confusing for me. It was like the first kid seemed the right age, and this kid seems like he could be 15. Right. Like I don't buy him as an 11-year-old.
But
yeah, he does seem older.
He does. You also brought up the key point, which is that it's not the actor's fault. We don't need to blame the actor for this. Like it's the way the character's written, right? Like if the character was just sort of written in a cooler way, I think no one would mind the performance. It's just you know, he's always crying for mommy, as you said, and it just wears on us a little bit, you know.
It does.
So our final question, and this is a bit of a tough one. So
wait, we got 2 questions, right?
I feel like we already got her overall opinion on the Strain.
Okay,
with
you're
the
right.
Previous question.
You're right.
So this is a little bit tricky. So we'll workshop it with you. You don't have to come up with the perfect answer right away. But if you could add any square to our bingo card, any sort of trope that the Strain does, anything that you like to see on screen, can you think of a square that you would add?
That's a good question. Wow. Oh, okay. We have Gus trash talks.
Yeah, the way I do it is I pick a character. You know, I pick a character like I want a Gus square, and then I think about like what does Gus do on the show.
Oh man, I think there's not a Dutch square, right?
Oh, is there not?
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
I think when Laura Lee and I were making the card, we literally forgot Dutch was alive.
She ran away. That's another thing too. I was like, really, Dutch? Don't do that. She ran away from her friends. Like, why? Yeah. But she's back.
Like a square might be like Dutch ditches someone.
Yes.
She's always ditching
Dutch,
people.
Yeah. Or Dutch. I don't know. Yeah. Dutch breaks someone's heart, or Dutch leaves.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Dutch someone. I think that's a good
someone
one.
Makes a pass at Dutch. Something along those lines.
Impromptu question: do you think that F and Dutch are going to get together?
Oh man, I don't know. They do kind of have this weird vibe. Part of me is, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping not. But I feel like something may happen there. They're hanging out a lot. There's like a chemistry between them that I see. Maybe. I don't know.
I think the show is setting it up, but I agree with you. I would rather not go there with those two.
F has enough problems with the ladies. He has too much.
Yeah, given F's history with the ladies, I am not optimistic about that potential relationship.
He's got 2 dead ladies, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Well, thank you, Courtney, so much for coming on. How can folks keep up with you on Twitter, interact? Like, do you do a lot of special stuff on Twitter, right? You're always sending out a lot of tweets right beforehand, and you're very involved.
Yes, and like you guys said, overall, I absolutely love the show. And my Twitter is open. It's at Carpe Diem Court. I love tweeting about The Strain. Before, like you said, gearing up, getting ready to watch the episode, even after the episode sometimes, like when we're all still reeling about whatever just happened, I'm definitely active. So if you follow me, I follow back. And it's just really fun. I love tweeting with the show. It makes it so much more enjoyable. The show is great itself, but tweeting is awesome with the Strain community.
It is a great show for Twitter. You know, some shows are ones you want to sit alone and watch, you know, with friends and family maybe, but there are other shows that you just want to be in a big party and watch and celebrate when the giant silo full of Strigoi blows up. Like this Strain is very much, every episode is this just gets better and better with the more people. So I urge everyone to follow her. Follow us. Join us for the party. It'll make the show better.
Yeah. Also, are there any other shows that you live tweet, or is The Strain really your number one?
The Strain really right now is my number one. I think I used to do it more often before, but The Strain is really my live tweeting baby right now. I watch like reality shows sometimes, but I don't always live tweet. But The Strain, I always make sure to live tweet because the community is so active and so fun.
Well, I'm so glad we could finally get you on the podcast because we've really enjoyed tweeting with you for the last 2 years. I think it's the last 2 years we've been tweeting with you, so it's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It has. I've enjoyed you guys so much too.
Oh, yay.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
This wraps up our 37th episode of the Strain Podcast. Before we go, I want to mention a few things. You can download and subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can also hear all of our podcasts at our website, southgatemediagroup.com. Please subscribe to the show and also rate us. Follow the show on Twitter at The Strain Pod, and Kyle and I at Kyle Loves TV and at Blaire Loves TV. And remember, both Kyle and Blaire have an E at the end. Send us fan mail at thestrainpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to play #TheStrainBingo with us every week for a chance to be on the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.